Welcome to all. Jai Shri Krishna. Today's program is Series 6 of Pain and Miseries to Happy, Healthy and Peaceful Life. And we are taking 108 mantras one by one. And today's subject is know your true self, who we are. And it is based on Gita verse, chapter 2, 16 and 23. And pranam to Guruji, Hariharji Maharaj, with whose blessings we are all here together. We hear his beautiful voice, 6:30 in the morning in the program with his recorded parvachans from Canada. With his blessings, whatever you see on this page, he asked me more than 25 years ago. And actually in 1906, that I should start talking about on Bhagavad Gita, which I had no idea, even a single sentence, what to say. But I start paying attention to him. And whatever he spoke, it went to my heart. And with his instructions, he asked me to write the books where I had no idea what to do about it. And with his blessings, all these books you see, more than 10, they're all bestsellers on Amazon. And very first book, My Question and God's Answer, has been used in universities, UC Berkeley, and it is in library of all the Ivy universities. And 108 mantras was, or actually it was inaugurated on Lal Killa in the Gita conference, International Gita Conference, with Swami Gyananandji Maharaj, Sushma Swaraj, Ramdev Babaji, and all the dignitaries, very high profile people were there, and there were 40,000 people where they asked me to speak. So I was one of the speakers over there. So this is all blessing from Guruji, where he took me to universities, he took me to corporations and asked me to speak. And end up doing whatever he was guiding me at that time, and also in his Sushma Sharir. He left his body about 23 years ago. So thank you, Guruji. With your blessings, we are all gathered together. And in today's session, Series 6, we will be covering what is body, what is soul, who is the knower of the truth, and how can we become one and know ourselves with our sankalpa, that I am the knower and I am the Atma. And tip of the day, with practice, lesson to learn, meditation, and question and answers. So as the Bhagavad Gita starts with Arjuna's, when he lost his heroism, he became very depressed due to his fear, due to his confusion, and especially the fear of killing his near and dear ones, losing his family members. What would happen to the society? And due to all those confusions, he cast his bow and arrow and sat down on the back of his chariot with overwhelming sorrow, vishad. And he said, "Na jotasya iti gobindam." I will not fight the battle of life, battle of war, because for him, this was another battle. It was not a dharma kshetra. It was only Kurukshetra for him. But where Arjuna became hero to zero by his divine company of Lord Krishna, with his awareness that he is depressed, he needs help, put down his ego and asked for advice to Lord Krishna and said, prayed, where we are the Arjunas of today's in our life. So we all are praying to Lord Krishna to guide us. Here it says Arjuna Uvaj. It's not just the Arjuna Uvaj, because we are Arjuna, so it is our Uvaj. We are asking those prayers. Karpanye dosho pehte swabhava paschyami tvam dharma samudi cheta yachasyani nishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapanyam. And here Lord Krishna blessed him with the ocean of knowledge, which we call it Bhagavad Gita, the priceless wisdom, the timeless wisdom, where he learned step by step. Arjuna became a teacher and he guided him step by step how to first know your true self, who you are, before you make this decision that I will not fight. And Arjuna understood that he is also a Satchit Ananda, where we, little by little, we are understanding as well that we are not just Satya. I'm not just Satya, I am Satchitananda. Lord Krishna is with me and he's guiding me. Where Bhagavad Gita has become the step-by-step instruction manual for my life, which helps me to live healthy, happy, and peaceful life and move on to ultimately realize who I am, Satchit Ananda. So like Arjuna, when I am in pieces, then Lord Krishna is peace. He brings the peace in my life. He guides me how to get out of it. So in Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was in Vishad, Lord Krishna bestowed him with prasad, where he spoke 574 verses in Bhagavad Gita. Out of 700 verses, 574 verses are from Lord Krishna. And through 574 verses, he taught him how to get out of Vishad, how to become man to God, how to become just a human being to Dharmatma. That's where he could engage himself in Dharma Kshetra. From Dharmatma, how to become Mahatma, and from Mahatma, how to merge with God, Paramatma, through body, mind, and soul. That's where we are going to speak today. As we know, Arjuna was in great vishad, grief. And his grief was because his near and dear one will die. He was more focused on the body. He did not understand the soul. What does it mean? So Lord Krishna taught him the birth and death, and beyond birth and death and reincarnation. And he starts his very first verse where he starts taking Arjuna's ignorance. Because Arjuna was ignorant, he didn't know any of these things. So one layer by other layer, like onions, he took his layers off and finally took him to his central core of him, which was Ananda. So very first verse, Lord Krishna spoke to him and said, Ashocanya anvasocaswatam pragyavadanscha bhashte gatasunascha nanu shochanti pandita. You grieve for those who should not be grieved, and yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise man, Pandit, grieve neither for living nor for the death. You know, very first verse, he tells Arjuna Pandit. This means you are not speaking like Pandit. And today's session is also on Pandit. What is this word Lord Krishna means by Pandit? And he tells him to next verse. Dåñöo asmin yatha dehe komaram yovnam zara. Tatha dehantar prapti dhiras tatrina muhati. Look, he's telling him that just as a living being, Jeev Atma, continuously passes in this body from childhood to adults and finally dies, and then he enters into a new body after death. Again, he says, the wise are not confused by this. Over and over, he's telling him, the wise. In other words, you are not wise at this point. You are very ignorant. And sometimes that question used to come to me also. Have I existed before? Will I exist again? Being from India, we all relate to it. But in the Western world, now it's a new concept. And with experiences, we do realize, and we are on this path, that we are controlled by our senses. That's the reason we get upset, we feel, we criticize, we judgment other people, we hear all kind of gossip, we say all kind of things, which pulls our conscious level down, which disconnects us from us. However, with this beautiful verse where Lord Krishna says, Matra sparshastu konte, shitoshan sukh dukha, agam paino nitya, tanstitishasu bharata. O Arjun, the contact between senses and objects. Here are the senses. Anytime we touch, we feel, we speak, we see, we hear. All those feelings are temporary. See, when I was before 10 minutes ago, my body has changed. I'm not the same Satya, because my inner being is changing. But when I started, I was just sitting here. Now I'm speaking. Whatever I spoke in between, it all went. And I'm here in a different stage. And from 10 minutes from here, I will be in different stage. And actually, medical science also says that our body, every cell of our body changes every 6 months. So we are not the same person. It's changing every second, not every second, every nanosecond it's changing. And we are going closer and closer and closer to death. Whatever thoughts are coming to me right now or came 5 minutes ago, they're gone. Whatever you heard from me, it has been replaced what I'm talking now. So that relates to it, that everything is temporary, like gadgets, like software, like our phone. Every time we have new things coming. And the way I look at it is every day I feel difference in my body. I used to feel difference every 10 years. Then I start feeling difference in 5 years. Then I start feeling difference in every year, every month. And now I feel the difference in every day, from emotions to my spiritual level, to my physical condition of the body. Everything changes. And our possessions, our family, everything is temporary. Our kids used to be home. Now they are at their own places. All temporary, just like heat and cold. Sukha and dukkha, it comes and goes. Kabhi khushi, kabhi gam. Just like 12 hours ago, it was night. Every 4 hours ago, it was early morning. Now it's the day. And the seasons are changing. Today is beautiful, sunny day. And last week it was cloudy, and tomorrow I think it's going to be cloudy. So everything is temporary. And if we learn from this, that whatever it is, we should let go. And also whatever we see, hear, smell, touch, taste is temporary. So that here Lord Krishna guides Arjuna, ask him to focus. Here it says, Jiv Atma, dåñöo asmin. Deha, what is Deha? We are Jiv Atma. We are made with individual. Each individual person is made with body and soul. Jiva means body and Atma, soul. And body is made with senses, which we just discussed, 5 senses. Those are meant for action. Mind, which recognize, and buddhi means for discrimination. But what happens when body minus Atma? It's a dead body. That death is called body minus Atma. But you look at when Atma minus body, we do not experience, we don't know what it is, because we cannot feel it, we cannot experience this. What is Atma? But this Atma, the part of Paramatma, which goes into everybody and makes us Jiv Atma. However, only Atma cannot do anything, or only body cannot do anything. So all are required to function in life and know the ultimate truth, who I am. I am Satchitananda, but I need the body for that. And that's where the today's subject comes. Body versus soul. Transitory versus eternal. Sat versus asat. Sat means which exists, which is everlasting, which is Satchitananda. And asat, which is non-existent, which is temporary, which is always changing. This external world is all temporary. And it says, näsato vidyate bhävo, näbhävo vidyate sataù, ubhayor api drashtantasya, tav anayos tattva-darçibhiù. The visible world, including the physical body, is transitory and therefore has no existence. It is asatya. The invisible body, the spirit, which we call it Atma, soul, is the only satya. It is eternal and therefore it never ceases to be. It is always there. The reality of these two is certainly seen by the. We must pay attention to it. The reality of these two is certainly seen by the seers of the truth. Now, who is that seers? Who is that Pandit? Who is the tattva-darçibhiù? Because it says tattva-darçibhiù. So who is this tattva-darçibhiù? Who knows what is Satya, what is Jiva, what is Atma, and we are part of Paramatma, the supreme power, supreme consciousness, which is also called cosmic mind. God, many names. You can call any name, Krishna, Rama, any, but ultimately, the person who knows, experience, ultimately who is I am Satchit Ananda, who is beyond these senses, who is the master of these senses, who knows the asatya, what is temporary, what is changing, and also all the perception of these senses are under his control. And he knows the difference between Satya and Asatya, external world and also the inner world. My inner world is so beautiful. It is Satchitananda. When you go in meditation, you experience, you live in this world. And who are some examples? Buddha, Swami Ramakrishna, Maha-Avatar Baba, and many. You can relate to it. I can relate to it. They are living even now, and they are also some of the, so they are in Sushma Sharira, but we could all relate to it. And it's not something new. Lord Krishna is saying, he is giving that this concept, and from this concept, we could relate to it. So it is really true what Lord Krishna is saying. Everything is true, but here we can actually see it, experience it. So question becomes how to become tattva-darshibhiù, how to know the ultimate truth, who I am. Answer is very simple. Remove the ignorance. And how can we remove the ignorance? By self-purification. Because the senses are the one which makes us to do a lot of mistakes, lot of misdeeds. Sometimes we criticize, sometimes we say something which not inappropriately. Sometimes we use our ears for gossips, and we eat all kind of things we were not supposed to eat. And sometimes we touch, we feel all kind of, we are the slave of senses. And whenever we become the slave of senses and eat, hear, see, then our conscious level goes down. When we are upset, an example I can give you, when we are angry, we don't even remember anything what we said, though we might have hurt some other person. And later on we regret, but at that time, तलवार म्यान से निकल चुकी होती है. हमको उस तलवार को वापस म्यान में रखना है. And that's where, when we have a control on our mind, we are not the slave of mind. We are the master of our mind. And how we do it? By practicing spirituality, spiritual practices. And those spiritual practices are the prerequisites to know who I am. And in Bhagavad Gita, it says tapa. Best use of body, mind, intellect, and senses. And they are chapter 17, 14, 15, 16. And it starts from anudvekaram vakyam satyam parhitam cha. Sadhyaya abhyasnam manmayita puchyate. In other words, Vani pe, Vani ka tap karo. Then Dev Dvij. You know, it's Sharir ka tap kaise karo. Dev Dvij Guru Pujanam. Guru Pujanam. Ahimsa, Brahmacharya, Shocham. That's Shariram tap uchate. And then mind ka tap. Bhav Shuddhir. Man prasadam somatvam. Bhav Shuddhir itiye tapo. Manasam uchate. Man ka tap means mind ka tap. इन सब का तप बड़ा सिंपल है. कोई ये नहीं है कि हमको बाहर धूप में जाके बैठना है. कुछ भी just have to practice what to do with our body, with our mind, with our speech. In other words, I said, make the best use of your senses, your mind, your body. Mind always attached to the supreme consciousness, voice with name of Om. Listen to your inner voice. All these practices and how they come by doing yoga with breath. So every moment or every movement of our body is done with the breath, and the breath is combined with Om mantra. Then our pranic energy improves, our self-purification improves, and then meditation, connection to supreme power. We can do seva, we can study, we can do Bhagavad Gita, we can study scriptures, we can do all kinds of things. Listen to bhajans. Of course, we feel very relaxed, we feel very calm, we feel connected, but to increase the longevity of this calmness, experiencing this momentarily peace comes with the practice of Om. And as I said, Om mantra, prayers, silence. And when we make a best use, here I put the 5 monkeys. Think good, see good, hear good, speak good, and do good. Everything 5 monkeys is just my favorite ones. I came up with this 30 years ago, with this concept. So by practicing this, we not only experience who we are, we have the healthy body, peaceful mind, healthy, happy life, where we experience Anandam and experience Satchit Ananda. So this is how we learn how to know the ultimate true nature. Who am I? I am Satchit Ananda. And these practices are mandatory. That's why I said these are the prerequisites to move to the next level. So now, what is the nature of Atma? We talked about body, we talked about temporary worldly things, how to become it, but what is truly the Atma? Here, there are many verses from chapter 2 to 15 to 25th, but this is a very popular one. And there is another one, very popular one, 24. But this one is very popular, which I think whoever reads Bhagavad Gita, talks Bhagavad Gita, they all would remember this verse. Nainam chinanti shastrani, nainam dehti pavaka, na chainyam kalyan tapo, na shochati maruta. So what it says, the weapon do not cut the self. Here I put the weapons. They could not cut the Atma. They could cut the body, but not the Atma. However, the new weapon which China has given to the world is Corona, taking a lot of bodies. But it says these weapons do not cut the self, do not cut. And by the way, it says self. Self means, again, it's the supreme power, it's the God It is known as self in Upanishads, in our Shastras. Self means like myself. This is a small Satya. This is called a small I, small Satya. This is myself. But the supreme self of Satya is the bigger S. So this is I'm talking about the bigger S. S means soul, self. It's an interchangeable words. And it cannot be burned. Here the fire is there, but it cannot be burned. It cannot be wet by the water. It cannot be disturbed by the wind, because it is eternal. It is everlasting. And we have many proofs of reincarnation, which I shared last week, giving the example of Dalai Lama, how he is incarnated from the previous lamas. And we all have some experiences, or we might have experiences, and there are many people, many examples nowadays with the science as well. So knowing the soul, knowing what we have learned, today is our 6th session. And we, every end of every session, we have a sankalpas. And the purpose of having these sankalpas, it says here, sankalpa bhavan karmatva tattva sarvan avnashyas. Because when we do the sankalpa with the calm mind, we are committed, we promise ourselves that this is what I'm going to practice for this week, and then build upon next week. In other words, the first sankalpa, when we say new of me, I'm purifying myself every day. I'm not the same Satya anymore. I am new every moment. And that's where my focus is. I don't want to have the old habits. I don't want to have the old idiosyncrasies. I want to get out of them. I want to have a higher conscious level. So from there, and then, as I said, we are all Arjuna. So here Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, you talk about Pandit, but how to become Pandit? Who is Pandit, which we just talked about it. So our goal at that time was Arjuna, but what it means we are wise. We are more wiser today. We have to awake ourselves. In other words, we have to accept. Our ego has to go down, and we have to be aware of it. So that was the 3rd week we focus. 4th week we focus. I am eternal. I am Atma. I'm everlasting. And last week, we should not be slave of our senses. We should learn to endure the divine endurity, not the adharmic endurity. So we should not tolerate the adharma, but we should learn to endure the dharmic activities, dharmic situations. So therefore, today's sankalpa number 6, where we have practiced all 5. And now this week, we are going to focus on practicing näsato vidyate bhävo, näbhävo vidyate sataù, ubhayor api drashtantasya, anayos tattva-darçibhiù. So I know the truth. That's what our sankalpa is. I am Atma. So we have to become that tattva-darshibhiù, that jnani, that wise person who knows the truth, who I am. I am Atma. And once we do that, then we can experience healthy, happy, and peaceful life. And gradually, with more peaceful life, with more practices, we experience I am Satchit Ananda. So today's meditation, which is the next step for us. I know the truth. I am Atma. Which will be in the YouTube, it comes in the 2nd video, not in the 1 video. and it is named as meditation. So all the videos are there under the name of meditation of the subject. So thank you very much. Know who I am. Know my true nature, my true self. And I am Atma. And gradually, I will lead to the ultimate Anandam and live in happy, healthy, and peaceful life.